me now from Oxford is Anand Menon, the director of the initiative UK in a Changing Europe. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. As we understand it, Rishi Sunak is out in the lead. We know that he largely predicted Liz Truss's, the failure of Liz Truss's mini budget, and as Chancellor he steered the UK economy through COVID. But is Sunak going to be skillful enough, if he is to be the next Prime Minister, to navigate a fractious Conservative Party on the one side and financial markets on the other side who are going to demand fiscal discipline?
Well, I think you've put your finger on problems that Rishi Sunak faces. I could add a third one, which is we don't actually know what he's going to do. One of the curious things about this leadership contest is because it's been all about MPs, nothing's being said publicly about what the different candidates will do. So Rishi Sunak's economic policy at the moment amounts to saying, I will fix the British economy. Now, no one knows what that means. So the first thing is he's going to have to spell out his plans. After that, as you quite rightly say, it's not just a matter of whether or not he can calm the markets. It's also a question as to whether or not he can bring the Conservative Party with him. Because, yes, he has got the support of almost half of Conservative MPs at the moment, I think. That means he hasn't got the support of another half. And with a majority of 80, he needs to bring the bulk of those MPs with him if he tries to pass legislation, for instance, raising taxes, or if he tries to cut spending. So there are real hurdles ahead for him, even if he's sort of has a coronation today around midday.
Yeah, absolutely right. And where the economy is concerned, we are hearing this morning that the pound has rallied at the news of Sunak as a potential front runner. And we're hearing as well that Jeremy Hunt has given Sunak his endorsement. In the broader scheme of things, how important is that Hunt has come out and endorsed Sunak ahead of this budget we know is going to be announced on Monday? Is this, Britain's stability potentially getting back on the right track here?
Well, I suppose it's important in two ways. It's important, one, in terms of helping get other undecided Conservative MPs to back Sunak if Hunt is backing him. And two, I suppose it will act as some sort of reassurance to the markets. But bear in mind, all that Jeremy Hunt has done to date is say, I'm not going to be a maverick like Kwasi Kwarteng was. I'm going to do things, the old way, using the Office for Budget Responsibility, taking forecasts seriously, bearing in mind the need to balance the books in the medium term. So that has reassured the markets. What Jeremy Hunt absolutely hasn't done yet is give any indication of how he's going to address what he himself calls these terribly difficult decisions that face him. Are we going to pay for our debts by raising taxes? Are we going to pay for them by cutting public spending? Those are the real political decisions that we're going to have to wait for his budget to see how he intends to address.
And Anand, we know that they're beyond, the markets here in the UK, the instability here. There are global events sort of buffeting the UK government at the moment. One of them, of course, is the war in Ukraine. Is Sunak, Hunt, are they going to have to recommit to the ongoing commitment spending on defence for Ukraine? We know that in the past, for instance, Defence Minister Ben Wallace has come out and said that is absolutely necessary, that, they continue with that. Can we expect Sunak to keep that position?
Well, I think back in the days a few weeks ago where money seemed to come freely and promises could be made with no thought of their implications for the public finances, Liz Truss said, we're going to raise defence spending to 3%. Ben Wallace is very committed to that 3% number. Subsequently, Liz Truss rolled back slightly by saying we will reach 3% by 2030. So it's unclear where we are on that. Rishi Sunak, I think, is quite reluctant to pledge 3% to defence at a time when other budgets are going to be squeezed. So, for instance, the National Health Service, already in crisis. If there's talk of cutting the budget of the health service, that's going to be politically very, very difficult indeed. So Sunak is holding off the promise of 3%. One of the interesting things to see is whether Ben Wallace, if he's offered the defence post, will decide to keep it absent that promise, because he has hinted that if that 3% promise is watered down, he might walk.
Yeah, well, a close eye will be kept, obviously, on that budget announcement on Monday, and by then we will know next Monday who the Prime Minister is. Anand Menon, thank you very much for your perspective this morning. Appreciate it.